For years, I have been dealing with something that I have not shared. Now I'm ready to go ahead and tell you. I collapse. Let me explain. I don't just get weak in the legs and need to go lay down. No, I have a full on anaphylaxis reaction. It is red and itchy hives. I swell up, I have trouble breathing, I vomit, and a bunch of other symptoms. It all happens at the same time. And it happens when I exercise. It happens when I feel stressed. It happens at that lovely time of the month. And it happens a lot. It started in 2016 and it only happened once. And then once again in 2017. I just thought it was stress. Spring of 2020, it happened while I was running. And it continued to happen monthly. It continued to happen every month, every time I exercised while I was running. Again, my thought was stress. The entire world was stressed out with the COVID pandemic. After 5 months, I had enough. So I decided to seek out an allergist. I kept a food diary, and that food diary showed more results than the food sensitivity test. Looking at my food diary, it showed that I was eating too much plant-based protein prior to exercising. So my diagnosis? Exercise anaphylaxis. Does that mean that I'm allergic to exercise? No. What exercise anaphylaxis means is that when I eat plant-based protein and then shortly after I decide to go for a run, like an hour or a half hour later, I can't. I will have an allergic reaction. If I want to go out for a run, I have to stop eating 2 hours before I exercise. So I did that. I stopped eating 2 hours prior to exercising and felt better for 2 years. In 2022, it happened again. So I decided to have extensive vitamin and mineral testing. Our bodies have the answer to what is wrong. My body was showing me that I was deficient in chromium, which is a vital mineral necessary for our body to regulate blood sugar. It's very important. So what do? I take a little pill in the morning with my breakfast, and that was all I needed. I did that, and I felt good for 2 more years. And then I collapsed again. I felt great. I was going along, and then all of a sudden, I collapsed on May 8th of 2024. I collapsed while interpreting. Yes, in the gray box at the bottom of your screen, I completely passed out. That was humiliating enough for me to transfer my care and get to the bottom of things. I found an amazing naturopathic doctor who studied in California. She moved to New England with advanced testing that I had never heard of. Underlying gut and thyroid issues were finally taken care of, and I felt great. Then I took a Dutch test that showed what my hormones were doing. It was very impressive. My hormonal blood tests, for years, they were showing I was within range, but a Dutch test is a urinalysis, not phlebotomy. You pee on a stick to find out if you're pregnant. So why are we still checking our hormones with blood tests? It's beyond me. But that's a blog for another day. I was educated about how patients with one kidney have a lower blood volume. So people with two kidneys have more blood in their body. This seemed like common sense since our kidney's job is to filter our blood. So people who have one kidney would have less blood volume. It's very common sense. And it took me almost 20 years to learn this. So I need to support my one kidney by staying hydrated with electrolytes. In my water, I add Celtic salt, just a pinch, and a kneaded packet. And that has been keeping my blood sodium level stable. I have to regulate my blood pressure by not doing strenuous exercise 1 week before my menstrual cycle. So I've been doing meditative prayer walks in nature, which have been very beneficial. 1 year later, on May 8th, 2025, I felt fantastic for 2 days. 2 days later, it happened again. I was getting ready for a spring day out, and I experienced my most severe reaction. I had hives, I was completely swollen, I was red, I had trouble breathing. I am beyond grateful that my family was with me and I was not alone. 1 week later, I had another episode. 2 weeks later, more symptoms, but thankfully I caught it in time. By the end of May, liquid children's Benadryl was my safety net, and I was fed up. My glass half full self was upset. I am a grown woman, about to turn 40. I want to live on my own. I want to go out and do things. And I want to say yes to things without thinking twice. Instead, I've been in a constant state of fear that an episode is going to take me down. If I feel symptoms coming on, I just have to stop. And there's been many moments I've mentally said, "Not today, Lord," and try to stay positive. Even though it's put limits on my life, I'm not giving up. Genetics is the science of hope. So I had genetic testing. What is super quick and easy, it's just a cheek swab, has left me a little nervous. This is one of very few test options left for me, and I really need to find answers. Thankfully, it doesn't get any deeper than our genes, so I know I'm in the right hands. Thank you so much for watching and following along on my journey. I look forward to sharing more when the results come in. Namaste and lots of love.